Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Uh, we are there today on the topic of GST, and we'll be discussing a new chapter today, which is exemptions. In our previous chapter, we had discussed on charge of supply. We had covered up most of the concepts. We had two sufficient classes for charge of supply, and we had included whatever were the important things and MCQs I had shared with you. I hope the slides, whichever I had shared, is available for you and you could see it. And you are able to understand what are the points, extra papers which we had discussed, that has also been uploaded. So you could have a look at that and please read through that. And I would expect that if you have gone through it and if you have any questions, you could ask me in this class so that we are complete with the charge topic. Yeah, a good attendance today on a Saturday evening. Very enthusiastic class. I am really happy to see you all. Good evening, everyone. Very good evening. We'll make this class also the same way interactive like what we had in the previous class. So any students who have not able to ask your questions, please ask your ear so that we can clarify your doubts and then move ahead. Okay. But otherwise, charge subject is not so complicated. Exemption is actually a little complicated and little thing to remember because in this, it is little kind of very confusing because it is a little lengthier topic. You have so many exemptions, which one to remember, which one to not remember. There are some intricacies in each of them, but it's okay. We will understand it. So as we have seen that if we understand the concept well, then we can remember everything. So in this chapter also, we will try to understand the concepts so that it becomes clear to us. Okay. We don't have your lecture from Tuesday onwards. There is some rejig in the schedule. I don't know some changes they are doing in the schedule, which will be duly announced to you coming Tuesday. I have it, but according to the schedule which is shared with me, we have today, then on Tuesday, and then on Thursday. But I think there is some changes. If some changes is there, it will be intimated to you. Keep watching on the BOS app itself. Okay, sir, I'm unable to understand important point on RCM number 4. Okay, important point on RCM number 4. So let us go back to that so that for everybody's benefit, I will put up that presentation. So you are saying the fourth point, Harshit Jaiswal, you are not able to understand the fourth point. The fourth point says the recipient can take the credit of tax paid on inward supplies liable to reverse charge once the recipient makes payment of tax in cash. Okay. Now take this scenario that a supplier is charging GST to you in his bill. Once a supplier charges GST in his bill and you procure that item or you take services from him, so it's an expense for you, correct? So if it is a value of 1 lakh rupees bill, he will charge GST on that at 18,000 rupees. So input tax credit, what do we say is whatever subsequent to satisfying all the condition of input tax credit, if somebody charges you 1 lakh and they charge GST on that, you will take the 1 lakh as an expense and 18,000 is a valid credit for you. That is the concept of input tax credit. 18,000 is the credit for you, subject to that pay other conditions that you make the payment within 160 180 days and you get the invoice. All those conditions you have to fulfill. Now if supplier is charging GST to you, you will claim the credit. But if it is under reverse charge, supplier is not charging to you, you are paying it. Now once you make the payment, that is equivalent to payment to the supplier. Instead of supplying or remitting to the government, you are remitting to the government. How you are remitting? Through a challan, correct? Because it cannot be adjusted to the credit. That is what the the third point says. Payment of taxes under reverse charge cannot be made with utilization of input tax credit and has to be made in cash. So you'll make a cash payment. Even if you have credit lying with you, you cannot utilize it. You have to make the cash payment. Once you make the cash payment, okay, then the recipient, you have paid the taxes to the government, so you can take the credit. So you can take the credit of whatever taxes you have paid in your electronic credit ledger. That is what is the point for saying. So the doubt might arise, why should I pay and claim the credit? Because not everybody can claim the credit. Suppose I'm a supplier who is supplying only exempted goods. I said, no, there has to be a chain that somebody is charging me GST. And if I charge GST, only then I can claim the credit. If I'm supplying exempted goods, then whatever is the input tax credit, I cannot claim it. So the government will not go to each and every, give a separate law for each person. So it will be a common law. So the common law says you have to pay the GST on reverse charge basis, then you can claim the credit. Now, if a person who is not eligible to claim the credit because he's making exempt supply or is making only exempted taxable exempted goods, then that credit will not be available to him. But generally, taxes, if credit is available, he has to pay the reverse charge tax and then claim the credit. That is what is the fourth point. Is it clear, Harshit, now? Okay. Jyoti has clarified that next Tuesday and Thursday my classes are there, but Saturday it's not there. Correct. So Saturday I'm not available. Next Tuesday and Thursday the classes is there. After, so in next Tuesday and Thursday we'll complete this topic of exemption. After that there'll be 2 more classes on time of supply and value of supply. Okay. Can your same be done with GTA? Yes, even with GTA, others. So even when you're making payment for GTA, 5% whatever you're paying, that also can be claimed as a credit. I have a doubt, Ramchandra Singh. I have a doubt on supply and charge combined key whether composite supply, mixed supply come under RCM. Composite and mixed supply doesn't come under RCM. Composite and mixed supply is a type of categorization. Like forward charge and reverse charge is a different concept, and composite or mixed supply is a different concept. So if I make 2 supplies combined together, then I will decide whether it's a composite or mixed supply to determine the rate for these products. So if I determine the rate, then that's a different thing, and it reverse charge is a different thing. Okay, so don't mix up composite and mixed supply, saying that if there's a single supply, it could be under reverse charge. If there's a composite supply, then also it could be under reverse charge. So it depends, reverse charge depends on the category. So how we had discussed the list of reverse charge services, if those there are any composite supply, like in case of a lawyer service, we said it is under reverse charge. Now, if the lawyer provides the legal services and he supplies, say, any reimbursement, okay, so he came for the hearing of my case from Mumbai, he came to Bangalore. I told him you can stay in a hotel and include that in your bill. So his fees was 1 lakh rupees, appearance in the High Court, and he charged me extra reimbursement for the hotel bills. So he will charge me how much? 1 lakh plus the hotel bill. On that, I have to pay reverse charge. Now, can I say that it's a composite supply? Correct, because the hotel is not, he's not supplying of hotel services, he is supplier of legal services. Along with legal services, reimbursements is including. So for me, I am paying under reverse charge now because legal services provided to a registered person is under reverse charge. Now, when he provides this bill to me, he will not include GST. I have to pay GST on it. Now, to determine the GST rate under reverse charge, he will charge me how much? He will not charge me anything. I have to pay. Or can I say I'll pay only on 1 lakh and not on the hotel bills? No, that's not possible because this is an example of a composite supply, wherein 2 services are bundled. He's not segregating the hotel bill. It's a composite supply. So what is the rate on the main value of supply? That will apply on the reimbursement also. So legal services reverse charge rate is 18%. I mean, the rate on legal services is 18%. So on the whole value, I will have to discharge 18% GST and not 18% and 12%. Generally, hotel stay and all, it is if it's a lower tariff, that's 12%. So I cannot pay 18%, 12% separately. It's a composite supply. I will have to pay 18% reverse charge on it. Clear? If a person is supplying only exempted goods, so registration is compulsory. Only exempted goods, there is an exemption under registration. When you go to your registration, you'll understand. If purely exempted goods are there, then you don't have to take registration. It is exempted. Okay. So can we go with, I think most of your doubts are clarified. Let's go ahead with exemption chapter now. Mohammed Vora is saying ICI's new schedule has come. There is not a single lecture on GST. What to do now? There will be updation in that. The Board of Studies is discussing. The team is working on it. They will provide the new schedule also for GST. GST is definitely included, will be included there. Ms. Priyanka, your queries are reaching to me. Please ask me what is your question. It is there. Okay. So others and other people are saying it is there. Just scroll down the schedule all the way down. You'll find it. Good. 1st November, indirect taxes exemption. Then 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Then 3rd November, again exemptions. And then 10th November is the next class after the 3rd November. Okay. Thank you, others. Thanks for the clarification. So next class is on 1st and 3rd. After that, it is 10th. Okay. Now we'll go into exemption. So we had understood what is supply, correct? So in supply, we understood under Schedule 7, under Section 7, what is supply. Supply includes all forms of supply, and those 8 forms of supply we said. But what is not a supply is covered under Schedule 3. Okay, so at the threshold itself, whether it is taxable or not taxable, what is there in Schedule 3 will never be taxable at all. Schedule 3 items are never taxable. Then there will be all other services and all other goods which are taxable. Now, after it is getting taxed, government has come up with notification, okay, saying that in the law we cannot put the exemptions. So whatever exemptions prima facie we had to put, we have put it under Schedule 3. Apart from that, there will be some services, some goods which has to be exempted, which is given through a notification. So this notification, like how we have a notification for reverse charge, similar to that, we have a notification for exemption. Any exemption which the CBIC, Central Board of Indirect Tax and Customs, wants to give, they will give it through this GST notification. So if it is mentioned in the notification, it means those goods are exempted or those services are exempted. So for exemption, like how we had separate notification for goods, separate notification for services, similar to that, we have a separate notification for exemption of goods and separate notification for exemption on services. So again repeating what was mentioned here. Chargeability of goods. All goods and services are chargeable except alcoholic liquor and 5 petroleum products. Correct. So apart from Schedule 3, in the supply definitions, we saw that alcoholic liquor and 5 petroleum products are not chargeable to tax. So these are called as supply not leviable to tax or non-taxable supply. Okay, these are the examples of non-taxable supply. Further, check if the goods or services are exempt from tax. If it is exempted, then no tax, else liable to tax as per the rate notification. Okay, now what is the definition of exempt supply? What is the definition of exempt supply? Section 2, subsection 47 says, supply of any goods or services, supply of any goods or services or both which attract nil rate of tax or which is wholly exempt from tax and includes non-taxable supply. Okay, so exempt supply means those goods which are chargeable to nil rate, means the rate notification which is there, in that it is mentioned as nil, or through an exemption notification they are exempted. So this is exempt supply, but it also includes non-taxable supply. Which are non-taxable supply? This alcoholic liquor and 5 petroleum products, these are non-taxable supply. They are out of the taxable supplies perspective itself, but they are included in the definition of exempt supply. Why? Because if any input tax credit is there, we cannot claim on exempt supply. So if these alcoholic liquor and petroleum products are kept out of the definition of exempt supply, then people will interpret the law in such a way that on this, it is not an exempt supply. So I will still claim credit on other purchases which I make for selling of these goods. So to avoid that, they have to avoid that litigation saying that no, somebody can interpret the law in such a way. In the definition of exempt supply itself, the term non-taxable supply is included. So exempt supply includes exempt supply which is exempted through a notification or which is exempt where the rate is zero, and all the non-taxable supply is also exempt supply. Okay. Now, what type of exemptions could be there? Exemption could be various type of exemption. It could be in terms of specified activity, saying that if you do XYZ activity, then it is exempted. Or it could be that if certain supplier is supplying something, like government is supplying something, then it is exempted. It could be various type of exemptions. It could be based on the supply. It could be based on the type of supplier. It could be based on certain recipients, or it could be specified suppliers and specified recipients. Various types of exemptions could be there, which we will read out now. Okay. Now, exemption from goods. What are the goods which are exempted from GST? It is not there for your syllabus, but just to keep a basic understanding. Basic food grains are exempted. Gur, milk, daily essentials, if you see, all of them will be exempted. Eggs, curd, and agriculture products. Basic necessities, agriculture products will be exempted. Eggs, curd, lassi, unpacked paneer, unbranded natural honey, fresh vegetables, unbranded atta, unbranded maida, besan, prasad, common salt, health services, education services, raw jute, raw silk. These are all goods which are exempted under GST. Many are there, but I'm just giving you illustrative. Then unpacked paneer we are saying as exempted, but packed paneer will be taxable at 5%. So if it is unpacked paneer, it means it is for mass consumption, it is for industrial use, so it is exempted. But if it becomes packed, then it is for retail use, then it becomes taxable at 5%. So these are the basic products which are taxable at 5%. Okay. What about zero rated supply? Zero rated supply means supply which is also exempted, but in case of a zero rated supply versus exempt supply, in exempt supply, you are making outward supply which is taxable at zero rate, which is exempted, but input tax credit you cannot claim. But in case of a zero rated supply, you can make a taxable supply and still claim the input tax credit. Okay. For our whole syllabus in inter, only services are covered. Yes, only services are covered. Please explain non-taxable supply. Non-taxable supply are those supply which is not taxable to GST. Now, what are those non-taxable supply? Are alcoholic liquor for human consumption and 5 petroleum products, because under section 1, it's section 7 itself, they have specified that these are supplies on which tax will not be levied. So they're called as non-taxable supply. Okay. Now, central or state government based on the recommendation of the council. Section 11. What does Section 11 says? Which is the basic section for exemption. The central or state government based on the recommendation of the council may on consider it necessary on taxable goods and services of any specified description is satisfied that it is necessary in the public interest by notification exempt generally or through a special order exempt. So 11.1 says by a notification they can exempt. Now this exemption could be absolute, which means it is not optional, or it could be that you can claim this exemption subject to satisfying of certain conditions. Okay. Now the exemption could be absolute condition, means it is to be claimed and they don't have any option. Okay. And it could be subject to some conditions. So if these conditions you're satisfying, then you can claim these exemptions. If these conditions you're not satisfying, then you don't have to claim the exemption, pay the normal rate. So what conditions they can give? They can say that, like we have seen some products, the rate is 18%, it is reduced to 5%, saying that 5% rate you can claim, but ITC will not be available. So in that case, it's a subjectional exception, which means it is subject to certain conditions. If it is subject to certain conditions, then you have an option whether to claim it or not claim it. But if it is absolute, saying that this is the exemption given without any conditions, then you have to compulsorily follow it. Then you cannot tell, no, I will go for higher rate itself. That will not be possible. If it is absolute, it is not optional. It becomes compulsorily. If it is optional, if it is subject to some conditions, then it becomes optional. Now, this exemption could be exemption of the whole rate of tax or part of the tax amount. Either of it is possible. Then it could be by a notification or it could be a special order. By a special order, they can exempt under exceptional circumstances explicitly specified in such order. But if they pass order, then they cannot give a partial exemption. It has to be exempted from the whole of the tax. Okay. So a exemption could be by notification or by a special order. And after they have issued this notification, if the government considers that it is necessary for the purpose of clarifying the scope of applicability, okay, if they have issued a notification or order and they feel that there is a clarification which has to be issued, they can insert an explanation in a notification or an order within 1 year. Okay, within 1 year, if they include it, then such clarification will have retrospective effect, which means if they've issued a notification on exemption on the 1st of July 2017, then they can insert an explanation up till 30th June of 2018. If they include the explanation, then the effect will be that it can have a effect retrospectively. It can have effect from 1st of July 2017, but later on, if they issue, then it will be prospective, it will not be retrospective. Retrospective means from a back date, from any day prior to the date of issuance of notification. Prospective means from the date of issue of the notification. Okay, so if they issue it within 1 year, then it can be retrospective. But if it is issued after 1 year, then it has to be prospective itself. Practical problems in class. We will try to do some practical questions in class because the exemption, we have 3 classes. So on the last day of the class, which is on the 4th, on 4th, we will try to do some practical questions in this topic. Okay, we understood this. Now, again, exemption could be absolute or unconditional, then it is mandatory. Registered person doesn't have option to collect and pay tax at the higher rate. If it is conditional, then it is optional. At the option of the registered person, whether to avail the same or not can be decided. Now we'll get into the exemptions, which is, I put up a chart so that it becomes easy to understand because it is really theoretical, then it becomes really boring. That's the reason we have said that we have put a chart so that you can understand this. So what would be the idea behind such exemption? Because if certain items being sold has huge public demand or transactions happening regularly, will not the government lose revenue? It will lose the revenue, but government cannot think of revenue in everything. Like huge consumption products on milk, if they charge levying GST, then there'll be a lot of agitations because that's a basic need. And they don't want to increase the prices of these basic products. That's the reason on these products, they cannot levy GST so easily. Might be over a period of time, slowly they will introduce, like say on garments. fabrics was exempted, then they brought to 5%, then they increased to 12%. So that could happen over a gradual process, but not seeing, not they cannot levy directly the tax on it at the first instance itself. How to determine HSN number through the tax rate? Through the tax rate, we cannot determine. In the description of service or the description of goods, based on that, HSN can be decided. Okay. So charitable and religious activities. Let me zoom in. Okay. First is charitable and religious activities means the entity which is registered under 12AA or 12AB. 12AA was a section under the Income Tax Act, which has got changed to 12AB. So 12AA or 12AB, any entity which is registered under these acts, these sections, because if you have to claim exemption of a charitable and religious activity, any NGO newly formed, if they say that we are doing charitable activities, so our value services are exempted, not permitted, that entity has to be registered under 12AA or 12AB of the Income Tax Act. Once it is registered, only then it can go with further things. Further conditions are there. So entity should first be registered under 12AA or 12AB of the Income Tax Act. Charitable, then if it is registered, what all activities are exempted? Charitable activities relating to public health by way of, first of all, what all activities are exempted? Public health, advancement of religion, and advancement of educational programs. Within public health, what can get covered? Public health by way of care or counseling of terminally ill, severely or physically or mentally disabled persons. Okay, so terminally ill means they are sick and there is a terminal illness. Just fever or cold cannot be called as terminally ill, which is having a long-term effect like cancer or HIV or any alcoholic addicts. So they are all called as terminally ill or severely or mentally or physically disabled. Mentally disabled or physically or severely disabled means they don't have limbs. Okay, they have met with the accident and they cannot walk. So that is physical. Several, it should be several. It should not be a minor fracture. Now, fracture is considered minor because you can get it operated. So it should be several disablement or mental disablement, wherein they have gone into depression. So any care or counseling for such persons or is called as public health by way of HIV, AIDS infected, drugs, alcoholic addicts. Those are the care or counseling which is considered or exempted. If any charitable entity does this activity, then it is exempted and they provide. So this care or counseling is exempted, and public awareness. So before anything wrong happens, some NGO do this activity as providing the public awareness of in terms of preventive health, family planning, or prevention of HIV infection. So these activities, if they do public awareness also, it is exempted. Okay. So public health will cover only this. So general medical shop opened, the general physician open, that will not get covered because it should be care or counseling of terminally ill, severely physically, mentally disabled persons. Okay, only that is exempted. Advancement of religion, spirituality, or yoga. Okay, so advancement, it could be for public health or it could be for advancement of religion or spirituality or yoga, that is also exempted. And advancement of educational programs or skill development relating to abandoned, orphaned, or homeless children. So there's an association, there's an organization which provides educational programs or skill development to any orphanage or to homeless children or abandoned children. So if it is to normal children, then that will not be considered. Generally, NGOs don't do that. They provide orphanage or homeless children, for that shelter has been provided. Or physically, mentally abused or traumatized person means who are physically or mentally abused or traumatizing. The effect on their brains is so much that they are fully traumatized. So in those cases, it will be exempted. or they're providing educational programs or skill development to prisoners. Okay, so people who are there in prisoners, they go and give them skill development so that after they are out from the jail, then they can work on their own. Those people, or persons above 65 years and who are residing in rural areas. Okay, they should be elderly person. Elderly person here means more than 65 years. So if they're providing any services to everybody and anybody, then that will not be covered. They have to provide skill development for persons who are seniors above 65 years in rural areas. Because in urban areas, if it is there, that will not be considered. If they are providing to elderly people who are staying in rural areas, then it will be treated as exempted. So what they have to provide to these people? They have to provide educational programs or skill development. Okay, or preservation of environment, watersheds, forests, and wildlife. Okay, basic preservation. So environment preservation, they're holding camps, they're going to the forest, cleaning up, or going to wildlife places and cleaning up, doing something for preservation of the wildlife, or watersheds like the lakes we have. So preservation of the lakes, preservation of forest, or any environmental activities, all of that will be treated as exempted. But the main condition is these cannot be done by any NGO. It has to be done by a NGO which is registered under 12AA or 12AB of the Income Tax Act. Okay. Tuberculosis, hepatitis B, yes, those are all example of this thing, severely or terminally ill diseases. What does 12AA or 12AB means? 12AA or 12AB means that you have to apply to the Income Tax Commissioner, who will see what is the activities you carry on. So all applications doesn't get accepted. You have to make application on what are all the activities you're going to do. Once you apply for it, they will see and give you a provisional registration. After that, after seeing your actual activities, then they will provide you with a permanent registration saying that you are eligible for paying of income tax subject to some conditions. Any donations you receive is exempted in the taxpayer's hand, right? So those things are treated as based on the activities. 12AA or 12AB is mentioned. Section 8 company is different because 12AA, 12BB can be taken by Section 8 company, trust, or any charitable society. But Section 8 is one form of company which is registered under Companies Act. But 12AAB can be given to various kinds of organizations. It could be given to a trust. It could be given to a hospital. Section 8 companies also it can be given. Okay. Then second type of exemptions which can get is running of old age home. Now, running of old age home for residents above 60 years. So here we saw it is 65 years. We have to be careful. Advancement of educational program skill development relating to 65 years in rural areas. But running of old age home, it could be anywhere. And here the age is above 60 years. So running of old age homes for residents above 60 years, where the consideration is for boarding, lodging, and maintenance up to 25,000 per month per person. Okay. Old age home, which is run by the any NGO for residents above 60 years. And the consideration, if it is up to 25,000 per month, then it is exempted. Okay. But you have to also note when we see in the exemption for government, so old age homes, and if it is run by central government or state government, then it is fully exempted. Then there is no conditions of the limit, age, or something like that, because old age home run by central government, state government itself are very few. And on that, if we tax it, then it becomes very difficult. So to encourage more homes to be run by the central government or state government, that services is completely exempted. But if it is done by a 12AA charitable entity, then the limit is it should be for residents above 60 years and the consideration should be up to 25,000 per month. Okay. Charitable institutions which provide ancillary services to these institutions, like orphanage would also come. Orphanage is also already there. So we have seen that orphanages which are run and which is providing educational programs and skill development to orphanage is exempted. But anything done like ancillary services, it is not covered because they have not specified that ancillary services. So that may not get covered, but main orphanage and all will get exempt. Okay. Then what else is the exemption? So first is their pure activities. Second is running of old age home. Third is renting of presence of religious place meant for general public. Means there is a ashram mein, so it is exempted. But within the presence, within that area, within the same compound, they are providing of that religious place, which is meant for general public. If they are providing the following services, then it will be exempted. What services? Room rent. So room rent up to 999 rupees per day. Okay, if they are providing rent of rooms on a daily rental basis, and the rental what they collect, say we go to a temple, Tirupati temple, we have to stay there. Now to go and stay there, they provide rooms. Now if they are collecting any charges, say if they're collecting 800 rupees for per night stay, per day stay, okay, then it will be exempted. But if they're charging anything above 999, if they're charging 1000 rupees also, then it will be taxable. Okay. Similarly, premises for our Kalyana Mandapam, there it is a bigger space. So if they're charging up to 9,999 per day, then it will be exempted. Or if they're providing shops, some temples will see some shops are there, which provide some puja items. So for these shops, up to 9,999 per month. So why I've mentioned 9,999 is so that you don't get confused with 1,000 and 10,000. So if the room rent is 1,000 rupees or Kalyana Mandapam charges is 1,000 rupees, then it will be taxable. Can I claim exemption up to 999? No, because this is the limit which is said that if you are providing the room rent up to 999, then it is exempted. So anything above will be taxable. Okay. So religious place meant for general public, and room rent up to 999 per day. Premises are any Kalyana Mandapam services up to 9,999 per day, and shops up to 9,999 per day will be exempted. Sir, so like in old age homes, other ancillary services provided like food facility, gaming and recreation is also exempted. Yes, because in the old age home, they will collect rent for everything. So it's a composite supply. The main supply is providing of the stay there. So apart from that, anything is provided, it will all be inclusive itself. So if all inclusive, they're charging up to 25,000 rupees, then it will be exempted. कल्याण मंडप क्या होता है? कल्याण मंडप मतलब जो शादी के छत्रम होता है, उसके लिए जो मंदिर प्रोवाइड करते हैं, मंदिर जो जगह प्रोवाइड करती है कि आप यहाँ पे शादी कर सकते हो, खाना भी रख सकते हो, जो हॉल प्रोवाइड करते हैं, उसे कल्याण मंडप कहते हैं. ठीक है. So this is the activities provided by charitable organizations. उसके अलावा क्या है? नॉन 12AA यूनिट्स भी रहते हैं जो कुछ सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हैं. ओके. सो पंडित सर्विसेज, जो पंडित जो सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हैं रिलीजियस सेरेमनी करने के लिए या कुछ भी काम करने के लिए, तो पंडित 12AA में रजिस्ट्रेशन होने की जरूरत नहीं है, वो कुछ भी सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर सकता है. That will be fully exempted. So any services provided by any person of conducting religious ceremony is exempted. ठीक है. So पंडित services 12AA या 12AB में registration लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. That is without that registration also exempted. Then because this is related to religious, तो इसलिए मैं यहाँ पे include कर रहा हूँ so that we don't get confused. Then hostel or accommodation provided by a trust up to 999 per day. So जो हॉस्टल प्रोवाइड करते हैं और उनके लिए वो लोग चार्ज करते हैं अप टू 919 रहेगा, तो एग्जेम्प्टेड रहेगा. ठीक है. इसके अलावा क्या है? सर्विसेज बाय रिहैबिलिटेशन प्रोफेशनल्स प्रोवाइडेड बाय रिहैबिलिटेशन प्रोफेशनल्स. हमने देखा है कि रिहैबिलिटेशन सर्विसेज प्रोवाइडेड बाय अ 12AA यूनिट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड, बट जो प्रोफेशनल्स रहते हैं वो जो प्रोवाइड करते हैं सर्विसेज, ठीक है, रिहैबिलिटेशन प्रोफेशनल्स जो रिहैबिलिटेशन थेरेपी और काउंसलिंग देते हैं, दे आर प्रोवाइडेड टू एंटिटी रजिस्टर्ड अंडर 12AA, और दे आर प्रोवाइडेड टू मेडिकल एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशनल और एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस और रिहैबिलिटेशन सेंटर्स एस्टैब्लिश्ड बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट और यूनियन टेरिटरी. जब रिहैबिलिटेशन प्रोफेशनल्स हमको सर्विस प्रोवाइड करेंगे तब भी एग्जेम्प्टेड रहेगा. ठीक है. तो रिहैबिलिटेशन प्रोफेशनल्स का ही बोल रहे हैं क्योंकि हेल्थ ये बिकम द काइंड ऑफ हेल्थ सर्विसेज. तो डॉक्टर के सर्विसेज, हेल्थ सर्विस वहां पे एग्जेम्प्टेड ही है, बट इनको भी उन्होंने एग्जेम्पशन में ले लिया है. सो एनी सर्विसेज बाय रिहैबिलिटेशन प्रोफेशनल्स इज आल्सो एग्जेम्प्टेड. क्या इसके अलावा क्या कहा गया है? हाँ, रिलीजियस पिलग्रिमेज सर्विसेज बाई कुमार नगम KMVNL, कुमाऊं मंडल विकास निगम लिमिटेड। तो जो कैलाश मानसरोवर की यात्रा है वहां पे एक बॉडी सेटअप किया है जिसका नाम है कुमाऊं मंडल विकास निगम लिमिटेड। तो वो जो सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करते हैं और जो हज कमेटी हज लेकर जाने के लिए और वहां पे दर्शन करके वापस लाने के लिए जो भी चार्जेस कलेक्ट करते हैं, ये दोनों कमेटी एग्जेम्प्टेड है। ठीक है, कुमाऊं मंडल विकास निगम लिमिटेड कैलाश मानसरोवर की यात्रा, वैष्णो देवी की जो यात्रा होती है उनके लिए वॉट एवर चार्जेस दे चार्ज एंड हज कमेटी के चार्जेस है, बोथ ऑफ देम विल बी एग्जेम्प्टेड। ठीक है, नाउ इसका 12AA रजिस्ट्रेशन कंपलसरी है, हाँ, बिकॉज दीज आर ऑल सेम, तो इनका भी 12AA में रजिस्ट्रेशन जरूरी है। देन ट्रेनिंग और कोचिंग, अगर 12AA एंटिटी ट्रेनिंग और कोचिंग प्रोवाइड करता है इन रिक्रिएशनल एक्टिविटीज रिलेटिंग टू स्पोर्ट्स, मतलब जो स्पोर्ट्स रिलेटेड एक्टिविटीज प्रोवाइड करते हैं तो वो भी एग्जेम्प्टेड है। ट्रेनिंग कोचिंग इन रिक्रिएशनल एक्टिविटीज रिलेटिंग टू आर्ट्स और कल्चर इज ऑल्सो एग्जेम्प्टेड बाय एनी पर्सन नॉट नेसेसरी चार्जेबल एंट्री। तो स्पोर्ट्स के लिए है वो तो 12AA यूनिट रहना चाहिए, लेकिन ट्रेनिंग इन रिक्रिएशनल एक्टिविटीज रिलेटिंग टू आर्ट्स और कल्चर इज ऑल्सो एग्जेम्प्टेड। आर्ट और कल्चर के लिए आप अगर कुछ ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड करते हैं वो एग्जेम्प्ट रहेगा, तब आपको 12AA में रजिस्ट्रेशन लेनी जरूरी नहीं है। तो आर्ट्स और कल्चर को सभी को एग्जेम्पशन मिलेगा। ठीक है, can you please go through the module is so very voluminous, so whatever is combined for each services I've mentioned, if you go through the module you'll see that everything will be covered over here, nothing will be left out. So please go through these pointers so that this chart will help you, give you a pictorial representation and you can understand it in a better manner. Okay, what if the charitable institution is solely run on donations and they do not charge per month, per head per month? Then that will be the, what will be the impact? So if the institution is getting only donations and they're not charging, no consideration, no supply, no tax. So this question comes when I'm collecting any charges. If I'm not collecting any charges, completely on free, so there's no consideration, no need to consider whether it is exempt or not exempt, because there is no consideration itself. It is only purely running on donation basis. Fine, Ramchandra. रिहेबिलिटेशन प्रोफेशनल्स कौन होते हैं? रिहेबिलिटेशन प्रोफेशनल्स वो होते हैं, जैसे रिहेबिलिटेशन सेंटर हो गया, ड्रग एडिक्ट को आप यहाँ पे लेके गए, चले गए, तो वहां पे ड्रग एडिक्ट को संभालने के लिए आप वहां के स्टाफ संभाल नहीं सकते हैं, स्पेशलाइज प्रोफेशनल्स रहने चाहिए। जो ये प्रोफेशनल्स है वो ट्रेन रहते हैं कि जैसे मरीज है जिन्होंने ड्रग एडिक्ट किया उनको आप कैसे ठीक कर सकते हो। ठीक है, तो ये जो प्रोफेशनल्स ट्रेन होते हैं उन्हें रिहेबिलिटेशन प्रोफेशनल्स कहते हैं। इनका सर्विसेज भी एग्जेम्प्टेड रहता है। ठीक है, Pandit will also be exempt to take registration under GST as they provide exempt services. करेक्ट, सो पंडित के सर्विसेज एग्जेम्प्टेड है, तो ये सिर्फ यही सर्विस प्रोवाइड करेंगे तो वो एग्जेम्पशन ले सकते हैं। इनको ऐप, yes, I will upload this in the app, don't worry. I could not find the non-12AA services and rehabilitation professional in the module. Do you want me to tell you the page number? I can tell you that, because I have an old module, but I will tell you that also. 1 minute. Rehabilitation professionals. So in my, it is under entry 7A, services provided by entry number 74A. आपके बुक में मेरे पेज, आई एम यूजिंग दिस May 2022 study material. In this page number 4.44, around that you'll find 74A, services provided by rehabilitation professionals under Rehabilitation Council of India Act by way of rehabilitation, therapy or counseling and such other activity as covered by the said act at medical establishment, educational institutions, rehabilitations established by the central government or state government or union territory or an entity registered under 12AA. So if the rehabilitation professional is providing services to central government, state government, or it's providing to a medical institution okay, or it's providing to an educational institution, or it's providing to any entity registered under 12AA will be exempted. इसलिए इसमें हमने चारों चीज लिख दिया है. Entity under 12AA, medical institutions or establishments, educational institutions, or rehabilitation centers. Okay. Got it, Priyanka? Suppose a great painter professional gives art education training. This income will be exempted. हाँ, art related जो भी है exempted रहेगा. So any arts culture is also exempted. तो art और culture के लिए जो भी है that is also exempted. Other religious pundits also exempt. All religious pundits are exempted. Everything will be exempted itself. In new module also 4.44. So Priyanka, it is 4.44 where you will find the rehabilitation professionals exemption. Yeah, I think everything is covered here. Mohammad Wara, how to determine HSN number through the tax rate? I'm saying this again. HSN number is not through tax rate. You have to see the product or services. For that, see the HSN, then the rate will be available. So you have to go with the product if it is goods, or you have to go with the type of services, decide that service, and then see the HSN. Then for the HSN, you'll find the rate. Okay. So what we have discussed in charitable organization, services by an entity registered under Section 12AA of Income Tax Act by way of charitable activities are exempted. So entity should be registered under 12AA and all activities will not be exempted. Suppose they're selling any goods, okay, then it will not be exempted because it should be by way of charitable activities. What is charitable activities is what we have discussed. So services by an entity registered under 12AA by way of charitable activities alone are exempted. Then services by a specified organization in relation to religious pilgrimage facilitated by the government of India under bilateral arrangement with the Hajj Committee or State Hajj Committee or Kumaon Mandal Vikas Nigam Limited. So there should be a bilateral arrangement of the government with these committees, जो already है. Then services by way of training or coaching and recreational activities relating to arts or sports by anybody, or sports, arts or culture by anybody, and sports by charitable entities registered under 12AA is exempted. Then what is charitable activities? That is what we had discussed here. Here we had said, no, services by an entity registered under 12AA by way of charitable activities. What all charitable activities? Activities relating to public health by way of care or counseling of terminally ill persons, persons with severe physical or mental disability, persons afflicted with HIV or AIDS, persons addicted to dependence forming substance such as narcotic drugs or alcohol, or public awareness of preventive health, family planning, or prevention of HIV infection. Then advancement of religion, spirituality, or yoga. Why yoga I've highlighted? Because yoga was earlier not there, then they have amended. So earlier it was only advancement of religion or spirituality. Now it is advancement of religion, spirituality और yoga. तो अब योगा के लिए क्या बात हो सकती है? योगा में जब मैं योगा क्लासेस कंडक्ट करता हूँ, then it is exempted. But some places you will find that yoga में क्या करते हैं हम लोग? योगा में apart from yoga they also do residential training. So whether that residential training will be exempted, residential program of yoga camps where fee is inclusive of stay would be exempt if the camp is for primarily advancement of religion, spirituality or yoga. ठीक है, जैसे कुछ कैंप रख दिया योगा कैंप और वहां पे योगा करना जरूरी है, देन इट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड. ऐसा नहीं कि आपने कुछ कैंप रख दिया, आपको स्टे करना है, योगा करो या ना करो, इट इज ऑप्शनल, देन इट बिकम्स द स्टे सर्विस, इट्स अ लीजर सर्विस. So all leisures will be taxable, but if it is primarily for yoga camp ही रख रहे हो आप, okay, तो फिर that will be exempted. ठीक है. Then advancement of educational program or skill development relating to abandoned, orphaned or homeless children, physically or mentally abused or traumatized persons, prisoners or persons over the age of 65 residing in rural area. Then preservation of environment including watershed, forest and wildlife. This is the exemption notification जिसको हमने चार्ट में समझने की कोशिश की. Okay. Then services which are exempt under notification further is conduct of any religious ceremony, renting of services by a person. So मतलब by any person by way of conduct of any religious ceremony or renting of presence of a religious place, okay, owned or managed by an entity registered under 12AA of the IT Act, okay, provided nothing shall apply to renting of rooms where charges are 1,000 or more per day. मतलब 1,000 or more per day हो गया तो it will be taxable. Premises, community hall, kalyan mandapam or open area or the like where charges are 10,000 rupees or more per day. Renting of shops or other spaces for business or commerce where charges are rupees 10,000 or more per month. Okay, then it will all be taxable. So इसीलिए I mentioned 999, 999 or 9999. Okay, if it is room rent, then 999. If it is shop or any space, community halls, then it is 9,999. We have to remember these numbers 999 and 9999 for the rental charges. Okay. Services provided by charitable trust of specified services are exempted, but services provided to charitable trust are not exempted. So what we have to learn and understand is this exemption is for services provided by a charitable organization. So if there is an organization which is registered under 12AA, it is providing the specified service. So this charitable organization will not charge GST or whatever collections it makes. But if I am providing some services, anybody who's providing services to a charitable organization, generally these NGOs say that we are exempted, so you don't charge GST. But that is not true. Any services provided to charitable organizations, charitable trust is taxable. It is not exempt. Okay. Renting of presence of a religious place for general public is again exempted. For general public के लिए जो देते हैं, that will be exempted. Activities other than the above will be taxable irrespective of the manner or name in which it is collected. तो आप donation कोई exempted है ये नहीं बोल सकते क्योंकि मैं रेंट पे दे रहा हूं लेकिन जो सामने वाला है उसको बोलता हूं मैं आपको एक इनवॉइस नहीं दूंगा आपको डोनेशन की पर्ची दूंगा आई विल गिव यू अ रिसिप्ट फॉर डोनेशन सो देन दैट विल नॉट be considered as a donation. That itself will be taxable because what you are providing service, there's again a quid pro quo. He's not come here to give you a donation. He came here to stay in the room, and instead of you giving him a invoice for and mentioning that it is for room rent, you're saying that I'll give you a donation receipt. That is wrong. Most of the NGOs do that. That is not a correct practice, right? Donation collected for with an understanding to do promotional activity of donor, such donation will be liable to GST. Again, we had seen, no? So any promotional activities, if it is done, that will also be taxable. But if there is no quid pro quo, then it's a pure donation. So donation, is it always taxable or it is always exempted? Cannot say for sure. We have to see the transaction. If it is a pure donation without any quid pro quo, then it is exempted. But if it's a donation, colored donation, but it's actually a receipt for room charges, it's a receipt for Kalyan Mandapam, then it is not a donation, it will be taxable. So you said person who's giving training regarding arts not to register under 12AA, correct? That's what I'm saying, Krishna Shah. So person who's providing arts is exempted. He does not have to register under 12AA. You are saying that rent of room. You're saying that rent of room should not be more than 999 and in module it is rent not more than 1,000. It is not mentioned more than 1,000. It is mentioned 1,000 and above. If you see in the module, it's mentioned provided nothing contained in this exemption shall apply to renting of rooms where charges are 1,000 or more, which means even if it is 1,000, then it will be taxable. See the wordings. You have to use the wordings very carefully. nothing contained in, so it basically says it is exempted. Then in the proviso it says, provided that nothing contained in this entry B of this exemption shall apply to renting of rooms where charges are 1,000 or more per day. So if the charges are 1,000 also, 1,000 or more includes 1,000. So if it is 1,000 also, then it will be taxable. That's the reason I'm saying the limit is 999. What if yoga camps include hiking and such activities? If it is part of this yoga activity itself, saying that this is integral to your yoga thing, then it will be exempted. Why prisoners? Because there are very few people, very NGO who provide services to prisoners to encourage that. They have said providing anything for encouragement of prisoners, then it is also exempted. I received Paper-4B indirect tax of May 2020. Will it be applicable for May 23? It will be applicable with the supplementary paper. So May 22 का मॉड्यूल प्लस सप्लीमेंट्री पेपर लीजिए मोहम्मद असलम, तो फिर आपको May 23 का एग्जाम्स के लिए तैयारी हो जाएगी. So up to 999 means it includes 99999. So Ashwin, please. I didn't understand your question. Can you please repeat that and put some clarity on that? Are notification numbers important? Not important, but it is good to remember them. If one charitable trust is providing to another charitable trust, then will it be exempted to both? Yes, it will be exempted because one charitable organization you have to see from its outward services. So what is it providing? Is it providing charitable activity to the other NGO? Then it will be exempted. If it is providing taxable service, then it will be taxable. So it depends on the person providing and not on the person receiving is what I'm saying. So a charitable organization, charitable institution providing services to a general public or to other charitable trust, if it is exempt, it is providing the charitable activities, then it will be exempt only. So recently during pandemic, we saw actor Sonu Sood established Sood Charity Foundation, through which they have various charity project initiatives like providing oxygen cylinder, education scholarship to underprivileged students, free doctor consultation. Are they covered under exemption? Because they are receiving foreign donations and local donations also. So those donations are exempted because they are not, there's not a quid pro quo, because it's a philanthropic purpose that donations is received. Now, if this person is charging something, if this charity foundation is providing free of cost, then nothing is taxable. If they are collecting any charges, then we'll have to see the limits. Okay. चैरिटेबल एक्टिविटीज को हिंदी में समराइज कर दो. चैरिटेबल एक्टिविटीज को हमने देख लिया कि आपको मतलब तो पता है, तो इसका समरी ये हो गया कि जब एक चैरिटेबल एक्टिविटी पब्लिक हेल्थ सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हैं, जैसे कि कुछ इल ट्रीटमेंट के लिए, जैसे हेपेटाइटिस बी, कैंसर, वैसी बीमारी को ठीक करने के लिए आप केयर या काउंसलिंग प्रोवाइड करते हैं तो एग्जेम्प्टेड है. पब्लिक अवेयरनेस करते हो आप, ठीक है, जनरल अवेयरनेस करते हो कि प्रिवेंटिव हेल्थ हो गया, मतलब आपको कुछ बीमारी नहीं आए या कुछ बड़ी बीमारी नहीं आए, उसके लिए पहले ही आप प्रिवेंशन करते हो, जैसे पोलियो का प्रचार करते हो या पोलियो ड्रॉप्स आप खरीदते हो, वैसे प्रोवाइड सर्विस करते हो, तो वो सब एग्जेम्प्ट हो जाएगा. फिर जो आपका रिलीजन है, योगा है या स्पिरिचुअलिटी है, उसको बढ़ावा देने के लिए आप कुछ काम करते हो तो वो भी एग्जेम्प्टेड हो जाएगा. फिर एजुकेशनल प्रोग्राम, स्किल डेवलपमेंट रिलेटिंग टू, मतलब कुछ एजुकेशनल प्रोग्राम्स करते हो या स्किल डेवलपमेंट करते हो, जैसे टेलरिंग हो गया, ठीक है, या जैसे कारपेंट्री, ऐसे कुछ स्किल्स आप देते हो. किसको देते हो? ऑर्फनेज होम्स, ठीक है, या होमलेस चिल्ड्रन जिसके माँ बाप नहीं है, उनको कुछ आप सर्विस ये ऐसे एजुकेशनल प्रोवाइड करते हो तो एग्जेम्प्टेड हो गया. फिर फिजिकली मेंटली जो दिमागी तौर से या उनका लाचार है, उनको आप कुछ ये प्रोवाइड करते हो तो फिर वो एग्जेम्प्टेड है. कैदियों को सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हो तो एग्जेम्प्टेड है. या बुजुर्ग जो 65 एज से ज्यादा है, जो गांव में रहते हैं, रूरल एरिया में रहते हैं, तब आप प्रोवाइड करते हो तो एग्जेम्प्ट हो जाएगा. और प्रिजर्वेशन ऑफ एनवायरमेंट, ठीक है, एनवायरमेंट के लिए या पानी के चीजों के लिए, जैसे तालाब, नदी, नाले, उनको बचावत के लिए, या जंगलों को बचाने के लिए, या पशुओं को बचाने के लिए आप कुछ भी करते हो, देन इट विल बिकम एग्जेम्प्टेड. वो एक कैटेगरी हो गया. देन ओल्ड एज होम प्रोवाइड करते हो अबव 60 इयर्स के लिए, और आपका रेंट अप टू 25,000 रुपीज है, 25,000 के नीचे है तो एग्जेम्प्टेड मिलेगा, अगर 25,000 क्रॉस कर दिया तो फिर पूरा टैक्सेबल रह जाएगा। और ये ओल्ड एज होम अगर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट प्रोवाइड करती है तो पूरा एग्जेम्प्टेड मिल जाएगा। देन रेंटिंग ऑफ प्रिसेंस, ये हमने देख लिया 999 रुपीज, 9,999 के लिमिट है, यहां तक आप कुछ भी रेंटल कलेक्ट करते हो तो एग्जाम्प्ट हो सकता है, उसके ऊपर टैक्सेबल। देन ट्रेनिंग, ट्रेनिंग अगर ये 12AA चैरिटेबल एक्टिविटी, चैरिटेबल इंस्टीट्यूशन अगर स्पोर्ट्स प्रोवाइड करते हैं तब टैक्सेबल रहेगा, लेकिन दूसरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अगर आर्ट्स और कल्चर प्रोवाइड करते हैं तो उनको 12AA की जरूरत नहीं है, आर्ट्स कल्चर कोई भी प्रोवाइड करेगा एग्जाम्प्ट मिल जाएगा। फिर पंडित का सर्विस जो है वो पूरा तरह एग्जेम्प्टेड है, हमने देख लिया है। और कुछ भी अकोमोडेशन अप टू 999 टैक्स एग्जेम्प्टेड रहेगा। देन रिहेबिलिटेशन प्रोफेशनल्स जो सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हैं वो भी एग्जेम्प्टेड है। और सर्विसेज बाय कुमाऊं मंडल विकास निगम लिमिटेड और हज कमेटी का सर्विसेज है वो भी एग्जेम्प्टेड रहेगा। ठीक है, ठीक है। So summary we have covered the exemption of charitable activities. Now we'll go to the activity of agriculture services. ठीक है, एग्रीकल्चर सर्विसेज पहले मोटा मोटी समझ लेंगे कि जब भी मैं एग्रीकल्चर सर्विस प्रोवाइड करता हूँ, एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट्स थोड़े एग्जेम्प्टेड है, दैट्स फाइन, लेकिन एग्रीकल्चर सर्विसेज जो मैं प्रोवाइड करता हूँ बहुत सारा सर्विसेज हो जाते हैं इसमें। जैसे मैं एग्रीकल्चर सर्विस में अलाइड सर्विसेज हो जाते हैं, मैंने तो आई हैव ग्रोन द क्रॉप्स एंड गिवन इट, now whether this crops are exempted, yeah, goods per se agriculture products are exempted, but these are all not raw crops, this has to undergo some process. So this process is what we are saying that it will become taxable. Just say if I store something, will that also be exempted? Because agriculture is a complete chain of activities. You have to cut the plants. You need first of all labor. Whether that labor is exempted, then you have to use cutting machines. Whether those machines are exempted. After you have cut the plants, sowing, all the activity what a farmer does. After that, he has to take out the plants and do some husking, de-husking activity, and then it becomes marketable. So whether those activities are exempted or no is what we are saying. Others will think, what is this? Agriculture products are exempted, then why is there a special mention of exemption on agriculture services? Because it involves a lot of other activities also. Okay. रूरल एरिया वाले ओल्ड एज पर्सन के लिए ही एग्जेम्प्टेड है, अर्बन के लिए, क्योंकि जो अर्बन में रहेगा उसको अगर आप एज प्रोवाइड करते हो तो मतलब वो वेल वर्थ है। तो रूरल एरिया में ओल्ड एज पीपल के लिए कुछ सहारा नहीं है, तो इसीलिए वहां पे उन्होंने एग्जेम्पशन डाला है, अर्बन एरिया वालों के लिए नहीं डाला है। ठीक है, सो इट्स अ बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट, तो एग्जेम्पशन मिलेगा। फिर देन विल सी दैट agriculture produce are exempted. Then registration, if it is an agriculturist, रजिस्ट्रेशन अगर वो सिर्फ एग्रीकल्चर एक्टिविटीज प्रोवाइड कर रहा है तो फिर रजिस्ट्रेशन जरूरी नहीं है। टू द एक्सटेंट ऑफ प्रोड्यूस आउट ऑफ कल्टीवेशन, जो वो कल्टीवेट करता है सिर्फ उसी को बेचता है, ये एग्जेम्प्टेड प्रोडक्ट सेल करता है, तो फिर हमने देखा है कि एग्जेम्पशन में रजिस्ट्रेशन में एग्जेम्पशन दिया हुआ है। इफ यू आर प्रोवाइडिंग ओनली एग्जेम्प्टेड गुड्स देन यू डोंट हैव टू टेक रजिस्ट्रेशन। तो एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट सिर्फ एग्रीकल्चर के प्रोडक्ट्स बेचता है तो फिर उसको जीएसटी रजिस्ट्रेशन करने की जरूरत नहीं है। लेकिन एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट सिर्फ यही करते हैं, कुछ एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट अपनी जगह लेके रेंट पे बेचते हैं, वेयर हाउस भी देते हैं। तो जब अगर वो कुछ अदर सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करते हैं अदर देन कल्टीवेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट्स तो फिर वो टैक्सेबल रह जाएगा, उसको देखना पड़ेगा। इफ दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग ओनली एग्जेम्प्टेड सर्विसेज देन फाइन, तो उनको रजिस्ट्रेशन करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी। Now, what are the services which are exempted? Renting of vacant land. Okay, renting of vacant land with or without structure. W और WO का मतलब with और without structure. मतलब वेकेंट लैंड है, उसके ऊपर छोटा सा शेड है या छोटी सी झोपड़ी है जहाँ पे लैंड में आप कल्टीवेट करके वहां पे स्टे कर सकते हो। तो अगर वो स्ट्रक्चर है या नहीं है, छोटी बहुत स्ट्रक्चर है, जैसे घर नहीं का है, स्मॉल स्ट्रक्चर, देन विच इज इंसिडेंटल टू इट्स यूज, जैसे आप जो भी जाते हो और वहां पे आप छोटा सा एक शेड बना दिए, जो भी चीजें आप प्रोड्यूस करोगे वहां पे रख दोगे। ओके, तो फिर रेंटिंग ऑफ वेकेंट लैंड एंड रेंटिंग ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर मशीन इज एग्जेम्प्टेड। ठीक है, एग्रीकल्चर लैंड रहना चाहिए या फिर एग्रीकल्चर मशीन आप देते हो, ठीक है, जैसे प्लाउइंग के लिए मशीन है या एनी काइंड ऑफ एग्रो मशीन, अगर आप उसको आप रेंट पे देते हो तो उसके ऊपर टैक्स नहीं लगेगा, दैट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड। Then services relating to cultivation of plants and rearing of life form of animals. Services relating to cultivation of plants and rearing of life form of animals except horses for food, fiber, fuel, raw materials, ये भी exempted है। So services relating to cultivation of plants जो करते हो, या फिर animals को you keep growing, you keep rearing the animals, rearing is right word, मतलब जैसे मुर्गियां होगी है, उनको आप पैदा करते हो और बेचते हो। फॉर व्हाट पर्पस? फॉर फूड, फाइबर, फ्यूल और फॉर रॉ मटेरियल्स। ओके, ये प्लांट्स और एनिमल्स दोनों के लिए है। एनिमल्स को जनरली आप फूड के लिए, मतलब काऊ हो गया, काऊ को आप मिल्क के लिए यूज करोगे, करेक्ट। सो फूड, फाइबर, फ्यूल और रॉ मटेरियल्स के लिए आप जो भी प्रोवाइड कर रहे हो तो फिर दैट बिकम्स एग्जेम्प्टेड। ना उसमें क्या क्या इंक्लूड हो जाएगा, यहाँ पे स्टार लिखा है मैंने, स्टार में क्या हो जाएगा, एग्रीकल्चर के अलावा पिसिकल्चर, मतलब एग्रीकल्चर और एनिमल्स के अलावा फिश ब्रीडिंग को भी एग्रीकल्चर में इंक्लूड कर दिया। फिर पिसिकल्चर, सेरिकल्चर और फ्लोरिकल्चर, इन तीनों को भी एग्रीकल्चर सर्विसेज में ही इंक्लूड कर दिया। मतलब ब्रीडिंग ऑफ फिश, रेयरिंग ऑफ सिल्क वर्म्स, सिल्क वर्म्स क्या होता है, जो सिल्क का कपड़ा आता है उसको कैसे बनाते हैं, सिल्क वर्म से बनाते हैं। तो सिल्क वर्म्स को जो उगाते हैं, दैट इज ऑल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर सर्विसेज। देन फ्लोरिकल्चर, कल्टिवेशन ऑफ ऑर्नामेंटल फ्लावर्स इज फ्लोरिकल्चर। इन तीनों एक्टिविटीज को भी एग्रीकल्चर सर्विस में ही इंक्लूड कर दिया गया है। So these three activities are also agriculture activities. Is animal husbandry included in agriculture? What is animal husbandry? ठीक है, सो वी हैव कवर्ड द बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन। अभी स्पेसिफिक एग्जेम्पशंस क्या मिलेगा, एग्रीकल्चर ऑपरेशंस, मतलब मैंने एग्रीकल्चर खेत को कर दिया है और पौधे उग गए हैं, अनाज उग गए, तो क्या क्या ऑपरेशंस एग्जेम्प्टेड रहेंगे। एग्रीकल्चर ऑपरेशंस रिलेटिंग टू कल्टीवेशन, हार्वेस्टिंग, थ्रेशिंग मतलब उसको जो कट करते हैं, फिर प्लांट प्रोटेक्शन और टेस्टिंग, प्लांट प्रोटेक्शन के लिए कुछ भी एक्टिविटीज करते हो, दैट इज ऑल्सो एग्जेम्प्टेड। और टेस्टिंग कि मेरे सीड्स कैसे हैं, मेरे प्लांट्स कैसे, आपको लैब में देना पड़ता है कि इनका क्वालिटी कैसा है, तो जो लैब का सर्विसेज है वो भी एग्जेम्प्टेड है। सो टेस्टिंग इज ऑल्सो एग्जेम्प्टेड। देन सप्लाई ऑफ फार्म लेबर, ठीक है, मैं एक कॉन्ट्रैक्टर हूं जो फार्म लेबर्स सर्विस प्रोवाइड करता हूं। मेरे पास बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो फार्मिंग करते हैं, डायरेक्ट एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट उनको अप्रोच नहीं कर सकते, तो मैं 2-3 जगह से मंगवा के एक 5-6 लोगों का ग्रुप बना के बेचता हूँ। सो दिस सप्लाई ऑफ फार्म लेबर इज ऑल्सो एग्जेम्प्टेड। लेकिन अगर मैं सप्लाई किसी कॉन्ट्रैक्टर कंपनी को एम्प्लॉयज देता हूँ तो वो एग्जेम्प्टेड नहीं रहेंगे, क्योंकि वहां पे तो एग्रीकल्चर एक्टिविटीज नहीं है। स्पेसिफिकली क्या एग्जेम्पशन मिल रहा है, सप्लाई ऑफ फार्म लेबर पे एग्जेम्पशन मिल रहा है, ठीक है। तो सप्लाई ऑफ फार्म लेबर इज ऑल्सो एग्जेम्प्टेड, ठीक है। देन प्रोसेस कैरिड आउट एट एग्रीकल्चर फार्म, सेम, जो कटिंग, हार्वेस्टिंग, सॉर्टिंग और ग्रेडिंग जो एग्रीकल्चर फार्म लेवल पे होता है, जो कटिंग करते हैं, हार्वेस्टिंग करते हैं, सॉर्टिंग और ग्रेडिंग, जैसे बड़े दाने छोटे दाने उनको सॉर्ट करना और ग्रेडिंग करना, which does not alter the essential character but makes it marketable for the primary market. मतलब आपको तो प्राइमरी मार्केट जो मंडी वगैरह होती है उनको बेचना है, उसके लिए आपको बेसिक एक्टिविटीज करनी पड़ती है, उनका एक्टिविटीज इज ऑल टैक्सेबल, इज एग्जेम्प्टेड. जो फार्म लेवल पे होती है दैट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड. जो आउट ऑफ फार्म जाके मिल्स में जाके काम करते हैं दैट विल बिकम टैक्सेबल. जो फार्म लेवल एक्टिविटीज, वॉट एवर एक्टिविटीज यू डू, मतलब बोरियो में डालना, ठीक है, बोरियो में पैक करना, दोज लेवल ऑफ पैकिंग, बिकॉज यू कैन नॉट पुट डंप एवरीथिंग एंड जस्ट पुट इट एंड सेल इट, क्योंकि उनको कुछ अच्छे तरीके से बेचना पड़ेगा ना, तो आप बोरियो में डालते हो, बड़ी बड़ी बोरियो में, नॉट फॉर द रिटेल. जो अपने घर पे चावल आते हैं दैट इज नॉट द डायरेक्टली, वो खेत से नहीं आते हैं, ठीक है, खेत से मिल्स में जाते हैं, मिल्स में क्लियरिंग पॉलिशिंग वगैरह करके बाद में आते हैं. सो दैट इज फॉर द सेकेंडरी मार्केट. हम जो कंज्यूम करते हैं वी आर ऑल कॉल्ड एज सेकेंडरी मार्केट कंजम्पशन. जो प्राइमरी मार्केट में जाते हैं which makes it marketable for primary market, that is only exempted. Okay, the process carried out at agriculture farm is, and which does not alter the essential characters, which makes it marketable for primary market, is exempted. Then warehousing exempted है. फ्यूमिगेशन इन वेयर हाउस, मतलब जो वेयर हाउस में हम चीज रखते हैं वो खराब ना हो जाए, कीटनाशक ना आ जाए, इंसेक्ट्स ना आ जाए, वहां पे फ्यूमिगेशन सर्विस लग करते हैं. तो ये फ्यूमिगेशन सर्विस किसके लिए करते हैं, ताकि वहां पे प्लांट या जो भी चीज रखोगे वो प्रोटेक्टिव रहे. सो दिस फ्यूमिगेशन एक्टिविटी इज ऑल्सो अ एग्जेम्प्ट एक्टिविटी. देन वेयर हाउसिंग ऑफ माइनर फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस. वेयर हाउसिंग ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस तो है ही है, उसके अलावा माइनर फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस जैसे टैमरिंड, बैम्बू, मतलब अब खेत में उगते नहीं है, वो ऑटोमेटिक उग जाते हैं, आजकल उगाने पड़ते हैं. जैसे बैम्बू हो गया, बैम्बू को बहुत साल लगते हैं. टैमरिन का ट्री हो गया, वहां पे झाड़ पे उग के वो आएंगे. सो इट्स काइंड ऑफ माइनर फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस, नॉट अ फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस, नॉट अ एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस. सो माइनर फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस को भी, उनका भी वेयर हाउसिंग एग्जेम्प्टेड हो जाएगा, ठीक है. वेयर हाउसिंग ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस एग्जेम्प्टेड है, और राइस भी एग्जेम्प्टेड है, क्योंकि राइस तो हम एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस मानते हैं. एक्चुअल में राइस का जो पहले का पार्ट है दैट इज कॉल्ड पैडी. जो पैडी है वो है चावल, उसको पॉलिश करने के बाद राइस बनता है. तो पैडी जो है दैट इज एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस, और राइस को भी एग्जेम्पशन में ले लिया गया है. अगर ये नहीं होता तो फिर राइस का वेयर हाउसिंग टैक्सेबल रह जाता, लेकिन राइस को भी इंक्लूड कर दिया गया है. सो वेयर हाउसिंग ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस एंड राइस इज ऑल्सो एग्जेम्प्टेड. Then warehousing of cereals, pulses, fruits, nuts and vegetables, spices, cobra, sugarcane, jaggery, indigo, unmanufactured tobacco, betel leaves, coffee and tea. Because these are all secondary market. जैसे pulses किसको बोलते हैं, पॉलिश वगैरह करने के बाद pulses आएगा. फ्रूट्स तो हम कंज्यूम करते हैं, लेकिन उसका वेयर हाउसिंग इज ऑल्सो एग्जेम्प्टेड. देन नट्स एंड वेजिटेबल्स, स्पाइसेस, कोबरा, शुगर केन, जैगरी, अनमैन्युफैक्चर्ड टोबैको, बीटल लीव्स, कॉफी एंड टी, ये सभी वेयर हाउसिंग एग्जेम्प्टेड रहेंगे. क्योंकि कॉफी एंड टी के ऊपर हम जो खरीदते हैं उसके ऊपर टैक्स लगता है, क्योंकि कॉफी बनने से पहले कॉफी बीन्स रहता है. कॉफी बीन्स जब बेचते हैं दैट इज फॉर प्राइमरी मार्केट, सो दैट विल बिकम एग्जेम्प्टेड. लेकिन कॉफी जो है उसको मिक्स करके बेचते हैं, चिकोरी डालते हैं, ठीक है. उसका प्रोसेस एक होता है. जब भी आप टी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग मशीन में जाओगे, टी लीव्स जब बेचते हैं दैट इज एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस, लेकिन उसको सुखा के मशीन में डाल के जब करते हैं तब चाय की पत्ती मिलती है हमको, ठीक है. सो दैट इज ऑल टैक्सेबल गुड्स, बट वेयर हाउसिंग ऑफ दीज प्रोडक्ट स्पेसिफिकली जो लिखा है वो एग्जेम्प्टेड हो जाएगा. क्लियर टिल नाउ? Primary market means APMC yard. Yes, all APMC yards are primary market. What about transportation charges from farm to primary market, then to secondary market? So transportation charges, when we read that, we'll see that that is also exempted. Okay. Is supply of vehicles used in farming like tractors also exempted? So if we call it as farm produce, because agriculture tractors are meant for agricultural use itself. So sale or renting is exempted. Sale is not exempted. Sale will be taxable, but renting of these farm products like farming like tractors will be exempted. Okay, understood till now? Why I'm specifically emphasizing on these items? Because cereals, pulses, we'll see, these are all not agriculture produce, but warehousing of these products is exempt. Okay. Then what else is exempted? Market. APMC, the APMC yards which provide services of storage of goods, and it provides a place where the buyers and sellers can come and they charge something. That is also exempted because that is the primary market for the agriculturists, so that will be exempted. Then services of a commission agent. What does this commission agent do? It does sale or purchase of this agriculture produce and connects the seller and the buyer. Okay, all this commission agent services is also recognized that it is very important to sell the agriculture produce, so that is also exempted. Then loading, unloading, packaging and storing of agriculture produce and rice. All agriculture produce and rice, as I said, it's not for primary market, it's for secondary market, but still that is also included. Loading, unloading, packing and storing of agriculture products. Then transport of agriculture produce by rail, or that's a goods transport agency, road, rail and vessel. All of that is also exempted. Okay. Now what is taxable? Process which alters the essential character of agriculture produce. Example, potato is agriculture produce. Now, potato, if it is converted into chips, then it is not agriculture produce. Tomato is there. We have tomato purees or tomato ketchups. That is not exempted. That is all taxable. The process which alters the essential character of agriculture produce is taxable. Process which makes the agriculture produce in retail market. Okay, like pineapple is agriculture produce, but if you dry it, tin it, put it in tins, that is increasing the life of these products. So these are all activities which will become taxable. Other important points in case of agriculture is agriculture extension services like training, melas, kisan clubs, application of scientific knowledge to agriculture practices. These are all exempted. And artificial insemination, other than horses, all other livestock is exempted. So we've seen that rearing of all animals will be exempted except horses, because horses is basically, why do you do it? Either for horse races or other activities. That's why horses are not treated as part of the other animals. Okay, so artificial insemination of this except horses will be all exempted. Clear? Agriculture is very simple to understand. Is basmati or any rice sold for packaging exempted? No, it will not be exempted. It will be taxable. But they have given an exemption to it, but it is not an agriculture produce. So rice and all, if you see, it's a basic staple food. So that's the reason they've given exempted, but it is not an agriculture produce. Any doubts in this agriculture services? Rearing of animals is called as livestock farming or animal husbandry. Rearing of animals, I think it's called both. Yeah, rearing of animals is called as animal husbandry. जो पैकिंग में है वो एग्जेम्प्टेड है नहीं, जो पैकिंग में है रिटेल के लिए वो एग्जेम्प्टेड नहीं रहेगा, वो मोस्टली गुड्स के कैटेगरी में देना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि जैसे राइस वगैरह है वो एग्जेम्प्टेड में डाल दिया उन्होंने, तो एग्जेम्पशन विल बी ऑन द प्रोडक्ट्स. अगर वो एग्जेम्पशन में लिखा है तो फिर रहेगा, बट अदरवाइज प्राइस जो पैकिंग होता है वो टैक्सेबल बन जाता है. Give the charts as notes. Yes, I will give this. If tomato buy from Himachal and sell in Haryana, is it exempt? Agriculture produce है तो फिर exempt रहेगा, so it will be exempted. Upload this notes, definitely I'll do. ठीक है. Looks like no technical question. What if farmer sells directly consumer and not through APMG? still it will be exempted because the products per se of agriculture are exempted. So if it is an agriculture produce, then it will still be exempted. If it doesn't say whom you're selling it to, but I'm saying the process. The process generally followed is it is sold through APMC. But if a farmer directly sells to a consumer, then it is still exempted itself because the exemption is on the product. So it will still be exempted. Okay. We'll take a break of 10 minutes and get back at 7:30. Hello, can we start? There were some questions raised. If farmer sells directly consumer, then is it exempted? Yes, still it is exempted. Shruti Hainalkar, I have not received your question. Please send your question again. Charge of GST notes is uploaded. Somebody confirm that it is uploaded. Please check ICRAR again. And I got a confirmation from the Board of Studies team also that it has been uploaded. Please check again. Mustard seeds purchased by an individual for extracting oil, will it be taxed or no? So it depends if mustard seeds are taxable or no. If it is taxable, then it will be taxed. If it is exempted, then if it is used for any purpose, it will still be exempted itself. In any of the oil seeds are purchased by individual for purposes other than extracting oil, will those transactions be taxed? Yeah, so oil seeds per se, if it is taxable, it depends not on the use, it depends on the product. So if it is taxable, then it will be taxed. If it is exempted, it will be exempted. Okay. Great. Agriculture services we have covered. Then agriculture related services. Let's brush up this. Services by way of loading, unloading, packing, storing, or warehousing of rice is exempted. Okay. Warehousing of rice is also exempted. Warehousing of agriculture products is also exempted. And warehousing of minor forest produce is also exempted. Service by way of storage or warehousing of cereals, pulses, fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Basically, you will have to be careful on this because nuts and vegetables, fruits, that is also exempted. Spices, copra, sugarcane, jaggery, raw vegetable fibers are all exempted. Service by way of fumigation in a warehouse, carrying out an intermediate production process like a job work in relation to cultivation of plants and rearing of all life forms animals, because any job work is done is also exempt. Like I have a product, how some activity has to be done wherein I give it to a job worker and I get it back. So this job work activities for the purpose of agriculture produce is also exempted. Great. Easy way to remind all the exemptions is to keep a tab on those charts. I think if you would have just gone through the theory in your board of studies material, it would have become very, very dull and very, dry to understand it. That's why I put it in charts. So there are various exemptions. If you have undergo those charts like at least 2 to 3 times, then you'll definitely remember that. So the basic operations performed on agricultural products are exempted, but subsequent operations are taxed. Correct. Ashwin, about my CA journey, I think if I have extra time, I'll definitely explain that. Minor forest products like tobacco, tamarind, bamboos, those are all called as minor forest produce. If oil is extracted from coconuts, is extraction are taxable? Yes, extractions are taxable because coconuts is primary product and extracting oil from them will become a secondary product. Warehousing of jaggery, yes, jaggery is also included, so that is also exempted. Receive your queries, yes, Kanakarini, I am receiving your questions. Okay. Then agriculture related services, services relating to cultivation of plants and rearing of all life forms animals except rearing of horses for food, fiber, fuel, raw material, or other similar products or agriculture products by way of what all things? Agriculture operation directly linked to production, supply of farm labor, process carried out at an agriculture farm, including cooling or bulk packaging. So bulk packaging is included. Retail packaging is taxable. Bulk packaging and such like operations which do not alter the essential characters of agriculture produce, but makes it marketable for the primary market, that is all exempted. Renting or leasing of agriculture machinery or vacant land is with or without structure is exempted. Then loading, unloading, packaging, storing, and warehousing of agriculture produce, agriculture extension services. What is agriculture extension services? Like any kind of education which I give and any lab services which I give, that is covered under agriculture extension services. services by way of APMC, Agriculture Produce Marketing Committee, or board, or services provided by a commission agent for sale or purchase of agriculture produce is exempted. Services by way of fumigation in a warehouse of agriculture produce, this is also exempted. Questions. What I have: green tea or tea for consumption and processing of coffee beans. Okay, so green tea, like we have tea, we make a green tea. So what is the difference between tea leaves and the green tea? I had told this earlier also. So green tea or any kind of tea, what we get, which is the black color powder, tea powder, that is a processed product that is taxable. Tea, and that is the tea which you use for consumption, and processing of coffee beans, what we get, coffee powder, that is not the actual coffee. Actual coffee is the green color coffee beans which you get. Okay, Arabica and Robusta, two coffee beans are there. Based on the grades, they process the coffee beans, and with the coffee beans they put it in a machinery, mix some chicory, and then we get the coffee beans. So that is the process of coffee beans which we get it. So coffee, tea, what we get is a processed product. Original will be tea leaves and coffee beans, that is the agriculture produce. Then processing of sugarcane into jaggery changes its essential characteristics. So jaggery is a retail product. What they actually manufactured are actually grown in agriculture is the sugarcane. So sugarcane is exempted. Processing of sugarcane into jaggery is taxable activity. Then pulses, which are commonly known as dals, are obtained after dehusking or splitting. They say green dal we see, it is a complete dal. Or a tur dal, what we see is a complete dal. They break it, polish it, dehusk it, because husk are there, with that we cannot consume. So the process of dehusking or splitting, okay, जो husk निकालते हैं, then they sell it. That is usually not carried out by the farmers at the farm level. So basic theory, what we have to see is whatever activity is done at the farm level will be taxable. Anything done at the mill level will be exempted. Farm level, but by the pulse millers. So agriculture millers, rice millers, what are they like that? There are pulse millers who will do the milling activity. Therefore, pulses, dehusked or split are also not agriculture produce. However, whole pulse grains such as whole gram, rajma, like the basic rajma what we get, those are all covered under the definition of agriculture produce. Okay. हाँ, श्रुति अहंकाल जी, सो बेसिकली ये नोट्स इजी रेफरेंस के लिए है। हाँ, आपके जो मॉड्यूल में है वो लेंथियर है, आप इसी को आप समझ के, लेकिन आपको डिटेल में लिखना पड़ सकता है, क्योंकि एग्जेम्पशन जो है वो स्ट्रेट क्वेश्चंस नहीं आएंगे। जो क्वेश्चंस आएगा कि ये प्रोडक्ट्स हम लोग ने किया है, इसमें क्या एग्जेम्प्टेड है, क्या एग्जेम्प्टेड नहीं है, तो आपको वो जस्टिफिकेशन के लिए आपको नोट्स पढ़ना पड़ेगा, लेकिन याद रखने के लिए मेरे नोट्स आपको काफी है। कनक हरिणी, प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेश्चन अगेन। Chana to chana dal is also a pulses. So फिर chana to chana dal is also a secondary activity. It will be taxable. If we buy a cow, whether GST is levied? No. On all animal purchases, animal rearing, GST is not there except the horse. एग्रीकल्चर एक्सटेंशन सर्विसेज, एग्रीकल्चर एक्सटेंशन सर्विस हमने बताया था ना, जो एग्रीकल्चरल एक्सटेंशन सर्विसेज है। आई विल पुट द स्लाइड अगेन फॉर यू। एग्रीकल्चर एक्सटेंशन सर्विसेज ये हो गया, जो ट्रेनिंग है, फार्मर्स को ट्रेनिंग देते हैं, मेलाज लगाते हैं, किसान क्लब्स है, एंड एप्लीकेशन ऑफ साइंटिफिक नॉलेज टू एग्रीकल्चर प्रैक्टिसेस। ठीक है, जो साइंटिफिक नॉलेज कैसे अप्लाई करते हैं, आपको कैसे फार्मिंग करनी है, उसके लिए जो भी सर्विसेज देते हैं, जो प्रोडक्शन कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं, दो सर्विसेज आर कॉल्ड एज एग्रीकल्चर एक्सटेंशन सर्विसेज। ट्रेनिंग, मेलास, किसान क्लब्स, application of scientific knowledge to agriculture produce. So these four things are called as agriculture extension services. Yes, sugarcane to sugarcane juice is also taxable. Yes, that is also taxable. ठीक है. Here I wanted to show you a video ताकि हम इसको समझ सके ठीक से कि क्या होता है this paddy में. Okay, I'll play a short video for your reference. Okay, just wanted to share how the rice process works. So what we understand as rice and what it is actually there is a lot of difference. Okay. How much percentage of marks from theory and problematic questions that you'll have some buddy from Board of Studies who will answer you that question. Agriculture retail is taxable or no? Agriculture retail depends on the products. We are on the services front. That services will be taxable, but the products like fruits, when you say fruits are exempted, okay, fruits are exempted, but the activity, the service portion will be taxable. Fruits are also taxable. No, it is exempted. If donation are collected by temple from the public for expansion, then those donations are taxable or exempted. Then it will be exempted because it's still a donation. Donation for building is still a donation because there is no quid pro quo, right? You're not getting something in return. They're only getting a receipt saying that this is donated, or they'll get put a small board if it's a big donation saying that this room is being donated by so and so person. So it is exempted. Then the temple, will it be required to register under 12AA 12B? Yes, temple would be required because any activity of charitable nature is also required to be registered under 12AA or 12AB. So they have to register. गुड एग्जेम्प्टेड है, आप पहले कहे थे, पर अब जीएसटी लगेगा. गुड प्रोडक्ट तो ठीक है, प्रोडक्ट के ऊपर जो रेट है वो एग्जेम्प्ट रहेगा. मैं प्रोसेस की बात कर रहा हूँ, तो प्रोसेस जो है वो एग्जेम्प्टेड नहीं रहेगा, वो प्रोसेस टैक्सेबल रह जाएगा. But if the donor demands that his business play card to be advertised, then such donation is taxable. Yes, अगर वो कुछ मार्केटिंग बोलता है कि उसका बिजनेस प्ले कार्ड का एडवर्टाइजिंग करो, then it will be taxable. ठीक है. सो वी हैव कवर्ड एग्रीकल्चर. नाउ एग्रीकल्चर में डिफरेंशिएशन करने के लिए एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस एंड नॉन एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस, देयर आर टू थिंग्स. वन इज fruits. Fruits are agriculture produce. ठीक है. Now what is a non agriculture produce is the dried or processed foods. So it's a non agriculture produce. जैसे टिनिंग हो गया, प्रोसेसिंग कर लेते हैं, ड्राइड टोमेटो मिलते हैं, ड्राइड आपको फ्रूट्स मिल जाते हैं, जैसे ड्राई फ्रूट्स वगैरह है उनको ड्राई करके ड्राई पाइनएप्पल मिल जाते हैं. दोज आर ऑल नॉन एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस. पाइनएप्पल इज एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस. टिंड पाइनएप्पल जो शुगर डाल के मीठा बना के बहुत 6-7 महीना तक आप रख सकते हो, दैट्स अ टिन पाइनएप्पल. इट इज नॉट अ एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस. टी लीव्स हमने देखा है, टी लीव्स एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस है. टी और टी पाउडर, सिमिलरली कॉफी बीन्स इज एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस. प्रोसेस्ड कॉफी बीन्स या कॉफी पाउडर इज नॉट एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस. Then sugarcane, basic sugarcane is agriculture produce. Jaggery is not a agriculture produce. Whole pulse, such as whole gram rajma, is agriculture produce. Pulses dehushed or split will be non-agriculture produce. Paddy is agriculture produce. Rice is not. वो तो हमने वीडियो में देख लिया है. Salt is exempted. Yes, salt is exempted. वो देखना पड़ेगा. सो इट्स नॉट लाइक ईच आइटम वाइज विच आई विल रिमेंबर. आपको एग्जेम्पशन में देखना पड़ेगा वेदर इट्स एग्जेम्प्टेड और नो. If nation donation to make temple and marble made outside display, donator name, is it exempt? सिर्फ नाम के लिए हम लोग देते हैं कि नाम देना चाहिए बिकॉज ही शुड रिकॉग्नाइज एंड देयर इज नो क्विड प्रो क्यों कि हम लोग बड़ा मार्केटिंग करेंगे कि इन्होंने दिया, ये सब नहीं करते हैं, देन इट इज स्टिल एग्जेम्प्टेड. I will send this note after finishing this class, Priyanka, so you can refer this. Badam, kaju, dry fruits, these are all called as dried products. तो उनके ऊपर these are all not agriculture products, ये तो मैं बोल सकता हूँ. Exempted या not exempted हमको exemption में देखना पड़ेगा. Okay, if there are no more questions in this, okay, there are some questions coming up. Are millets exempted? And if we see them tagged under brand name, then it is taxable. So millets are basically grains which are processed. So millets वगैरह जो है basic जो उगते हैं, that will become exempted. Then millets will become taxable. They are not agriculture produce. Okay. Now each product wise we are not going because product whether it's taxable or exempted is not covered for you. The process will be taxable because it is for secondary market, not for the primary market. Next is educational services. Educational services is also very important service. Now, when we go and study in school, colleges, do we pay GST? We don't pay GST क्योंकि education services जो है that is also exempted. So services provided for educational purposes is also exempted. जैसे healthcare exempted है वैसे ही education is also exempt. Now, what is this exemption? It's not a straight jacket exemption saying that they've just said exemption is education services exempted. इसमें बहुत सारे conditions है. Processing of rice from paddy is taxable? Yes, processing is taxable. So education services which are exempt, this is simple. Education services which are exempt. One is till now we have said services provided by charitable organizations, services provided by agriculture thing is exempted. Lekin education mein two things are there. Services provided by educational institutions and services received by educational institution is also exempted. Ab tak charitable mein we didn't have the services provided by received by educational charitable institution is exempted. लेकिन educational में बहुत सारे services provide करता है which is related, so that's why it is exempted. First is services provided. क्या provide करते हैं? Education provide करते हैं. किसको provide करते हैं? To its student, faculty and staff. All educational institutions. Services provided by educational institution to its students, faculty and staff is exempted. Then conduct of entrance examination against entrance fees. जो भी entrance examination conduct करते हैं उसके लिए entrance fees लेते हैं, that is also exempted. School fees जो लेते हैं that is also exempted because why do they collect school fees? Or providing education. So services, education services provided by educational institution are exempted. Okay, services provided by them is exempted. Now, what is the services received which becomes exempted is ये चार्ट आपको कहीं पे भी नहीं मिलेगा. So this I have prepared ताकि आपको differentiation मालूम पड़ जाए. Okay, so services received. So I am providing some services to educational institution. वो भी exempted है. वो कौन से services exempted है? Transportation of students, faculty and staff of eligible educational institution. ठीक है. What is the eligible education institution? Educational institution का definition है that will read. So services of transportation जो bus service provide करती है, provide services to students या faculty या staff को provide करेंगे जो bus की services है, tempo की services है. Okay, those transportation of students from the home to school and school to home back, that is exempted. Then catering services including midday meal scheme sponsored by the government. So any catering services like midday meal service provide करते हैं वो sponsor अगर government करती है तो that is also exempted. Then security or cleaning or housekeeping services. Okay, security, cleaning or housekeeping services that is also exempted क्योंकि security रहते हैं, housekeeping रहते हैं, that is exempted. Then services relating to admission के लिए जो admission fees वगैरह collect करते हैं that is also exempt. Then supply of online educational journals or periodicals that is also exempt. ठीक है. 5 services exempted है. Transportation, catering services, midday meals कर दीजिए, security or cleaning, then admission services and supply of online educational journals. तो ये 5 services provided to educational institution is exempted, but not to all educational institutions. जैसे schools, preschool, college और other educational institutions हो जाते हैं. So first 3 services जो हैं ये प्री स्कूल और हायर सेकेंडरी स्कूल तक को ही मिलेगा. मतलब प्री स्कूल मतलब बिफोर द स्कूल स्टार्ट, नर्सरी प्राइमरी जो भी है, नर्सरी है, एलकेजी यूकेजी, दैट इज प्री स्कूल. सो वो प्री स्कूल को मिलेगा और हायर सेकेंडरी स्कूल वालों तक मिलेगा. मतलब 10th स्टैंडर्ड के बच्चों तक के जो स्कूल है उनको ये मिलेगा. विच वन? फर्स्ट 3 सर्विसेज, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स, केटरिंग सर्विसेज एंड क्लीनिंग सर्विसेज. और ये जो सर्विस है और ये भी उनको मिलेगा बिकॉज सर्विसेज रिलेटिंग टू एडमिशन सभी को एग्जेम्प्टेड है. स्कूल, कॉलेजेस सभी के लिए एग्जेम्प्टेड है. ठीक है. एंड सप्लाई ऑफ ऑनलाइन एजुकेशनल सर्विस ये सिर्फ किसके लिए एग्जेम्प्टेड है? सिर्फ 10th के ऊपर वाले बच्चों के लिए. मतलब ऑनलाइन जर्नल्स, एजुकेशनल जर्नल्स जो भी प्रोवाइड करते हैं, पीरियोडिकल्स प्रोवाइड करते हैं, दैट इफ दे प्रोवाइड टू स्कूल, प्रोवाइड टू एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन, वो एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन अबाउट 10th वाली होनी चाहिए. मतलब जो कॉलेजेस की है या 11th 12th वाली है उनको जो प्रोवाइड करती है, देन इट बिकम्स वैली एग्जेम्प्टेड टू देम। समझे आप? तो एक एग्जाम्शन है जो सबके लिए एप्लीकेबल है, वो है एडमिशन ऑन कंडक्ट ऑफ एग्जामिनेशन। एडमिशन एंड कंडक्ट ऑफ एग्जामिनेशन सबके लिए एग्जेम्प्टेड है, और 10th और उनके नीचे हायर सेकेंडरी स्कूल और उनके नीचे वालों के लिए ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, मिड डे मील्स और सिक्योरिटी क्लीनिंग और हाउसकीपिंग, ये 3 एग्जेम्प्टेड है। और बड़े बच्चों के लिए सिर्फ सप्लाई ऑफ ऑनलाइन एजुकेशनल स्टूडेंट्स जर्नल्स और पीरियोडिकल्स एग्जेम्प्टेड है। क्लियर? So if we are taking X-ray or MRI, such services are taxable under GST. Kanakharini, जब हम when we read this healthcare services, we'll answer that part. College courses, fees and admission are exempted. Yes, fees and admission are exempted. School means pre and secondary school, right? Yes, pre and secondary school. Printing of books, copy for schools, is it exempted? Printing of books, it's not mentioned here. So printing of books, basically it's a supply of books. So supply of books, we'll have to see whether there is a exemption for books or no. That becomes a goods portion. Okay. Why GST collected GST on registration from students? We'll have to see that why ICI is collecting, but any services provided by an education institution is exempted. Now, what is the educational institution? What is the meaning of an educational institution? Educational institution means an institution providing services by way of preschool education and education up to higher secondary school or equivalent. Okay, so preschool or education up to higher secondary school जो है वो educational institution में आ जाएगा. Then education as a part of curriculum for obtaining a qualification recognized by any law for the time being in force. मतलब डिग्री के लिए जो एजुकेशन प्रोवाइड करते हैं वो किसी डिग्री लेके आएंगे. जैसे मैं कॉलेज में पढ़ता हूँ, कॉलेज से मुझे पीयूसी की डिग्री मिलती है, या फाइनल जो मैं ग्रेजुएशन करूंगा ग्रेजुएशन की डिग्री मिलेगी. इंस्टीट्यूट आईसीआई में जब क्वालिफाई होगा, जब मुझे सीए की डिग्री मिलेगी, सो आई गेट अ क्वालिफिकेशन विच इज रिकॉग्नाइज्ड बाय लॉ, देन दैट इज आल्सो एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन. Then education as a part of an approved vocational education course. So approved vocational education course जो है, not all vocational education course, approved vocational education course में जो मिलेगा certificate, that is also exempted. तो हम क्या समझ चुके हैं? Schooling exempted है, college exempted है, any other courses जो मुझे qualification मिलेगा exempted है. फिर मैं अगर ट्यूशन जाता हूँ, ट्यूशन में मुझे कुछ क्वालिफिकेशन मिलेगा नहीं, ये अलाइड सर्विसेज है, सो ट्यूशन पे मुझे एग्जेम्पशन नहीं मिलेगा. जैसे मैं कोर्सेज सीए कोर्सेज कंडक्ट करने के लिए दूसरे प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशन से, वहां से जो भी मैं कलेक्शन करते हैं वो उसके ऊपर जीएसटी लगाएंगे. देन एजुकेशन एज अ पार्ट ऑफ एन अप्रूव्ड वोकेशनल एजुकेशन कोर्स, ये समझेंगे. अप्रूव्ड एजुकेशनल कोर्स, वोकेशनल एजुकेशन कोर्स क्या हो गया? अ कोर्स विच इज रन बाय एन इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट. सभी स्टेट्स में आईटीआई की इंस्टीट्यूशंस रहती है, इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट और इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग सेंटर अफिलिएटेड टू द नेशनल काउंसिल फॉर वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग. जैसे आईटीआई आपको मैकेनिक, इलेक्ट्रिकल वर्क, प्लम्बिंग वर्क सिखाती है. दे आर ऑल अप्रूव्ड एंड अफिलिएटेड टू द नेशनल काउंसिल फॉर वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग. ठीक है, एंड दे ऑफर कोर्सेज इन डेजिग्नेटेड ट्रेड्स अंडर द अप्रेंटिस एक्ट. मतलब अप्रेंटिस एक्ट में लिस्ट दे दिया कि ये आप अगर प्रोवाइड करेगा तो फिर आपको एग्जेम्पशन मिलेगा. देन अ मॉड्यूलर एम्प्लॉयबल स्किल कोर्स अप्रूव्ड बाय द एनसीवीटी रन बाय अ पर्सन रजिस्टर्ड विद द डायरेक्टर जनरल ऑफ ट्रेनिंग. एमएसएमई, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ स्किल डेवलपमेंट के साथ आप अफिलिएटेड हो तो और आप स्किल कोर्सेज प्रोवाइड करते हो, तब भी वो वोकेशनल एजुकेशन हो जाएगा. ठीक है, सो वोकेशनल एजुकेशन इज स्पेसिफिकली डिफाइंड. अगर they are affiliated to the National Council for Vocational Training and providing training, or you are affiliated or approved by the NCVT, then also it is a vocational education course. तब आपको exemption मिल जाएगा. ठीक है, वैसे प्राइवेट आईटीआईज भी होते हैं जो ओनली इन रेस्पेक्ट ऑफ डेजिग्नेटेड ट्रेड्स. अपार्ट फ्रॉम गवर्नमेंट आईटीआईज, प्राइवेट आईटीआईज भी रहती है, इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूशंस. उनके लिए जो स्पेसिफाइड ये एक्टिविटीज है, दैट विल बी exempted. Okay. Now boarding provided by schools. Apart from schools जो मैं करता हूँ, schools पे boarding भी रहती है. जैसे stay वहां पे ही करना, रेसिडेंशियल स्कूल्स रहते हैं. मेन में क्या रेसिडेंस के लिए भेज रहा हूँ या स्कूल की पढ़ाई के लिए भेज रहा हूँ? आई एम सेंडिंग माई चिल्ड्रन टू दैट स्कूल ताकि वो पढ़ सके. एंड बोर्डिंग इज अ एंसिलरी थिंग, सो इट बिकम्स अ कॉम्पोजिट सप्लाई. तो बोर्डिंग का भी फीस एग्जेम्प्टेड में हो जाएगा, बिकॉज आई एम नॉट प्रोवाइडिंग ओनली फॉर स्टे ओवर देयर, आई एम प्रोवाइडिंग फॉर एजुकेशन. एंसिलरी स्टे स्कूल वाला दे रहा है. So then it is very far. I cannot, and the school का mandate है कि वहां पे stay करना है. Then it is an exempted thing. Then third clarification is IIMs. IIMs क्या करते हैं? जैसे कोर्सेज हैं नॉर्मल IIM में आपको MBA की डिग्री मिलती है. उसके अलावा IIM थोड़े 1 ईयर कोर्स, डिप्लोमा कोर्स को प्रोवाइड करते हैं. उसमें आपको सिर्फ पार्टिसिपेशन सर्टिफिकेट मिलेगा, लेकिन डिग्री नहीं मिलेगी. जब पार्टिसिपेशन सर्टिफिकेट मिलेगा, कैन आई से इट इज द करिकुलम फॉर ऑब्टेनिंग क्वालिफिकेशन? नहीं, वो उसको आपको सिर्फ एक्सपीरियंस मिलेगा, आपको ऑब्टेनिंग अ क्वालिफिकेशन नहीं रहेगा. सो ऑब्टेनिंग अ क्वालिफिकेशन नहीं है तो फिर दो शॉर्ट टर्म कोर्सेज, डिप्लोमा कोर्सेज, सर्टिफिकेशन कोर्सेज, ऑल टैक्सेबल, दैट इज नॉट एग्जाम. ओके. स्कूल बुक्स टैक्सेबल हो गई है, पहले एग्जाम्प्टेड थी, ठीक है. What is the meaning of higher secondary school? Correct, up to 12th. The schools which provide education up to 12th class are commonly known as senior secondary school or higher secondary schools. So you're right. Jnanish, yes. So up to 12th is treated as higher secondary school, not 10th. I stand corrected there. What about those schools or colleges who takes lakhs of fees of single year? Still, क्योंकि यहाँ पे amount का limitation नहीं है. They've not said up to this limit or that limit. They said anything which is done for the purpose of education. Now, if they collect 10,000, or if they collect 1 lakh, it is up to their discretion, up to the parents to pay it. Right? So any fees, whatever is collected is exempted. There is no limit which is set here. If colleges or schools are private, then is there exemption for admission fees? Still, it is a exemption because it doesn't say only government schools. Government schools, in fact, don't collect only. No, government schools get money from the government. So government schools के लिए तो they don't collect fees itself. So exemption की बात ही नहीं होती. Who is collecting fees? Private institutions are collecting. So private educational institutions who are collecting, those are all exempted. Computer training institutions are educational institutions? Nahi, because in computer training institution, you cannot get a degree qualified by law. They generally give you a diploma, or they give you a, diplomas are not recognized by law. Diplomas are like short-term thing itself, or they give you a certificate. They don't give you a degree. Okay, so it is not educational institution. Vocational courses means ITI, IIT, ITI, correct. ITI. IIT is also an educational institution, not a vocational course. IIT is Indian Institution of Technology. So it's a proper engineering degree. You get a Bachelor of Engineering degree from there. So IIT is a proper educational institution. ITI is a vocational course. Private coaching centers are taxable. Yes. Hostel services are exempted. हाँ, हमने बता दिया है. Hostel services are part of the composite services, so it is exempted. Coaching fees. Now, coaching fees, college वाले आजकल क्या करते हैं? That apart from the basic degree, they also provide something like a ancillary course. जैसे BCom के साथ CA combine कर दिया. But CA की डिग्री तो वो नहीं देंगे ना. So टेक्निकली स्पीकिंग, इफ इट्स अ कंबाइंड कोर्स, फीस सेपरेट नहीं है, एक ही फीस ले रहे हैं तो फिर कॉम्पोजिट में कर सकते हैं. लेकिन अगर सेपरेट फीस चार्ज करते हैं, देन इट मे बिकम दैट आपके कॉलेज फीस विल बी exempted, और आपके कोचिंग फीस फॉर एडिशनल सीए कोर्सेज विच मे बी टैक्सेबल. लेकिन मोस्ट ऑफ द कॉलेजेस डोंट डू इट. दैट्स द रिस्क दे आर रनिंग. बट अकॉर्डिंग टू मी, देयर आर 2 सेपरेट कोर्सेज, और आप फीस अलग से कलेक्ट कर रहे हो और बोल रहे हो कि ये ऑप्शनल है, आपको चाहिए तो ले लीजिए वरना नहीं लीजिए. So far it becomes exempt. Only the main college fees will become exempt. That coaching fees will become taxable. But many colleges don't do that. They say no, we have one fees, आपको इस course में लेना है तो आपको यही लेना पड़ेगा. Then it becomes a composite supply and the whole fees will become exempted. If colleges or schools are private, then there is exemption for admission fees. Yes, there is an exemption because private हो या public हो, हमने exemption में क्या देखा है? Services provided by education institution for getting any degree recognized by law. Right? So आपको degree मिल रहा है, आपको certificate मिल रहा है. The exact wording here is means a preschool or education up to higher secondary school or equivalent or education as a part of curriculum for obtaining a qualification. आपको कुछ qualification मिलेगा, then it is a educational institution. If private educational institutions order food as meal for staff, is it exempted? No, because services provided to educational institution, there we have not said anything like kind of food services. They've said catering services, including midday meal service sponsored by the government. Only that is exempted, but normal food, if they bring it from any catering services, then that will be taxable. Fees of coaching classes are exempted or not? Fees of coaching classes are not exempted. Okay. So any certification course provided by university, private bodies, government is not exempt. It is exempt. So certification course could be like what certification course? If they are providing a certificate which is recognized, qualification recognized by any law, then it is exempted. If they give just a normal certification of participation, normal certification not by a authority, just by that institution, then it will be taxable. High school means up to 8th standard. They have said it as higher secondary school, not high school. Higher secondary school means up to 12th standard. What about RSC, IT or Tally? The Tally is not recognized, no, because you don't get any recognition. You get a Tally certification. So if you are doing a Tally course and you get a Tally certification, then that will be taxable. Coaching centers are taxable. Yes, coaching centers are taxable. If private education institutions order food, वो आपने cover कर दिया है. Fees for coaching classes taxable. Yes. What is mess? Mess कहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है हमने? मेस इज इक्वल टू कैंटीन. जो भी कैंटीन प्रोवाइड करती है वो आपको एक मेस जैसे होता है, विच इज ऑल्सो इक्वल टू कैंटीन. सो दे प्रोवाइड फूड. दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ मेस. If we provide services to these institute, then it will be exempted if you're providing these services. If a chartered accountant provides auditing services, will it be taxable or exempted? इसमें लिखा है, is it is exempted here? No. So a chartered accountant providing any services, a landlord providing services of the space to the school, that will all be taxable. In college, tuition fees or admission fees are defined separately. So both are exempted. Yeah. So basically admission fees and tuition fees, they mention it separately, but they all treat it as a composite supply itself. So it will be exempted. CA, intertraining, OC, are it exempted? So these are all ancillary things, not a primary getting the degree. These are all things which will help you to get that degree. So in my view, these will all be taxable. Okay. I don't want to take up the next service because the next service is huge. We'll not be able to complete it in this session. So we'll take 5 more minutes to understand. If you have any more questions till now, please go through it and then we'll wind up on time or before time today. Because healthcare and other services, if I start, we'll have to complete it fully. Can't keep it half hanging. So any doubts till now? Or any questions that you have asked and you're not convinced something to be repeated? Okay, so I can take some multiple choice questions. Yeah, I'll take some MCQs. Sports training center, is it taxable? Uh, sports training centers, they give recognition by law. Nahi. So sports training centers, like if they prepare for state level or something like that, if it is sponsored by the government, then it will be exempted. Private sports training institutions are taxable because it's not an education. Canteen services provided by institute are exempt. Nahi, canteen services are taxable. Exempt means what kind of exam? Entrance exam, okay, and other exams is also part of it. So that will also be exempted. Exams, what they mean is entrance exam. Please repeat again the meaning of approved vocational course. Approved vocational course means any courses which is approved by the vocational training authority. I'll get back to that first slide. Approved vocational course means a course which is run by an industrial training institute or an industrial training center which is affiliated to the National Council for Vocational Training. So there is a council. वो council में अगर है which is the National Council for Vocational Training or State Council for Vocational Training. आप उनके साथ affiliated हो when you are offering designated courses in designated trades, then it is a exempted service and a modular employable skill course which is approved by NVNCVT. That's an authority. उनके साथ अगर आप employment ho and run by a person which is registered with the Directorate General of Training, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. If you are registered with them and if you're providing specified vocations, then it is exempted. College fees, admission fees and tuition fees, will it be taxable? एडमिशन फीस एंड ट्यूशन फीस मेंशन किया है, लेकिन एडमिशन किसके लिए कर रहे हैं? एजुकेशन के लिए कर रहे हो आप, तो देन दैट विल आल्सो बी एग्जेम्प्टेड इटसेल्फ. ठीक है, लेट्स टेक अप फ्यू एमसीक्यूज ऑन दिस. मिस्टर पांडुरंग बुक्ड अ कल्याण मंडप. ठीक है, ओके, इसका आंसर आपको पहले ही दे दिया, बट स्टिल अप्लाई द क्वेश्चन एंड सी वेदर यू कैन गेट द आंसर करेक्टली. Mr. Pandurang booked a Kalyan Mandap in Tirupati for his daughter's marriage. Rent of the premises was 20,000 per day. Mr. A booked few rooms nearby Kalyan Mandap for accommodating guests. Rent of the rooms is 850. Which of the transactions are taxable? Both are taxable. Renting of Kalyan Mandapam is taxable. Renting of room is exempt. Both transactions are exempted. Or renting of room is taxable and Kalyan Mandapam is exempted. There are courses for traveling. Is it exempted? Yes. So traveling courses जो है उसके लिए आपको डिग्री मिलेगा ना, so it will be exempted itself. So room rent is exempted in this case, and renting of Kalyan Mandapam is taxable. Why Kalyan Mandapam is taxable? Because the rent is more than 9,999. And rent of rooms, why is it exempted? Because rooms are up to 999 per day is exempted. So this is below 999. So it will be exempted. Next question. Mr. Mrs. X Private Limited providing a service of advancement of skill development to various companies. X Private Limited is not paying GST by the notion that services related to advancement of skill development are exempted. Is their contention correct? Yes. No. No, because why is it yes? Because it is not liable to charge GST. No, because it's liable to GST because services related to advancement of skill development provided by charitable trust is exempted. Services by X Private Limited does not fall under service definition, therefore it is not chargeable. None of the above. Okay. Answer is B, correct. Everybody is giving the correct answer. If you are saying D, none of the option, no. It is actually X because it is skill development and skill development is exempted for a charitable or religious organization. Correct. We have seen that 12AA and 12AB may advancement of skill development to various companies. It is not the educational institutions, it's a private limited, right? First of all, so for your education mein nahi aayega, this way you will get confused. So the correct answer is B because it's a private limited is liable to GST because services related to advancement of skill development provided by charitable and religious trust, which is exempted under 12AA, only that it will be exempted. But this is a private limited, not a, and nothing is specified. So you will assume that it is not registered under 12AA. Correct? So answer is B. Third one, Mrs. X Trust registered under 12AB providing services for advancement of skill development to various companies. X Trust is not paying GST by the notion that services related to advancement of skill development are exempt. Is this contention correct? Yes, it is correct. No, X Trust is liable to GST because services related to advance of skill development to specified person only is exempted. Services provided by X Trust does not fall under service definition or none of the above. सेम क्वेश्चन नाउ उसमें बोला था ट्रस्ट नहीं चाहिए अभी ट्रस्ट है सेकेंड डी थर्ड में थर्ड भी बी हाउ कम सर तो फिर सेकेंड क्वेश्चन और थर्ड क्वेश्चन में वी डिडंट फाइंड एनी डिफरेंस Third option is A. Yes, X is not liable to charge GST. Okay. This is a trickier question. 2 में तो हमने बोल दिया it is exempted. तो इसीलिए जब मैंने trust लिख दिया, so you are saying yes, it is not liable to GST. Is that your answer? No. Most of you are giving wrong answer. Only 2 people, Priyanka and Pitladwala, has given me the correct answer. The answer is still B because trust is liable to GST because services related to advancements of skill development provided by trust to specified person only is exempted. Am I providing to a specified person? Am I providing to orphanage or any homeless children? Am I providing it to prisoners? Am I providing to seniors having more than 65 age and they're staying in rural areas? I am providing the services to a company. So they are not under any of those these categories. So still it is liable. So 3 में पूरा मैंने नहीं लिखा था ताकि you get confused, and you got confused completely, and you have said the answer is A, but the answer is still not A, it is B itself. Okay, answer is B, not A. Answer is not C. It falls under service definition. Nothing like it doesn't fall, so it still falls under definition, but doesn't satisfy the conditions of providing services to specified person. So that's why it is still taxable. Okay. So only 3 MCQs for today because the chapter is not completed. We'll take up in the next session. Any doubts in this MCQs? All clear. Very good. Thank you very much, then. We had a good session today, good learning. We'll go slow with exemptions because it's a heavy topic. It's actually a heavy topic. So we'll take in the some points in the next session and then in the forthcoming session also. Thank you very much.